Hello, I'm Marjane, 30 years old, the owner of a trucking business with over 20 container trucks. This job isn't glamorous or luxurious like an office career, but I take pride in building it from nothing. I didn't go to college. Instead, I spent my younger years working in the transportation industry, starting as a regular driver until I could open my own company. I run a successful business, earn six figures yearly, and provide jobs for over 30 employees. I have a younger sister, Sophia, 26, who earned her master's degree in finance from a prestigious school in New York. She has always been the pride of our family, intelligent, ambitious, and expected to become a successful financial expert. And I'm the one who paid for all of her tuition. Over the years, I never once complained about it. I love my sister and wanted her to have the best future possible. I was willing to spend tens of thousands of dollars each year, so Sophia wouldn't have to worry about money, allowing her to focus on her studies without working part-time like I once did. But I never expected that my love and sacrifice would be disregarded this way. A little over a year ago, about a week before Thanksgiving, I was reviewing a contract with a major client when my phone buzzed. Seeing my mom's name on the screen, I felt it was necessary. She wasn't the type to call just to chat. I answered, "Hey Mom, what's going on?" There was a brief pause before she spoke. "Marjane, maybe you shouldn't come home this year." I frowned, an uneasy feeling creeping into my chest. "What? I come home for Thanksgiving every year." She sighed. "It's just, Sophia wants to keep things intimate." I leaned back in my chair, staring out the office window. Her voice was hesitant, as if she were carefully choosing her words. "Her boyfriend Lucas is bringing his parents," she continued. "They're successful business people, so—" "So what?" My heartbeat quickened. I kept my voice calm. "Just say it, Mom. What do you mean?" A long silence followed. Then she said something I will never forget. "Sophia thinks your presence might not be appropriate." A chill ran down my spine. I gripped my phone tightly. "Not appropriate? Why? Because I own a trucking company?" My voice was low but sharp. Mom quickly tried to backtrack. "No, sweetheart, that's not it. It's just—" But I already understood. Sophia didn't want her boyfriend and his family to know about me. I wasn't high class enough to sit at the same table with them. I set my phone down on the desk, feeling like I had just been punched in the gut. I couldn't believe it. I needed to confirm. Some part of me still clung to the hope that this was just some stupid misunderstanding. I called Jess, my cousin. If anyone knew exactly what was going on, it was her. She picked up immediately. "Marjane." I knew right away from her tone that she had already heard about it. I got straight to the point. "What did Sophia tell Mom and everyone?" There was a brief silence. Then Jess sighed. "Are you sure you want to know?" I clenched my teeth. "Tell me." She hesitated, but eventually she spoke. "Sophia said your job doesn't fit the image she's trying to build." I frowned. "What image?" "She doesn't want her boyfriend to know you own a trucking company. She's afraid they'll think our family is blue collar." I felt a surge of heat spread through my body, but underneath it was an icy coldness. I gripped my phone tighter. I had paid for her entire education. I had worked 16-hour days, sacrificed vacations, endured endless pressure so she could live comfortably without worrying about money. And now I wasn't good enough to be a part of her life. I was an embarrassment she wanted to hide. I let out a laugh, but there was nothing funny about it. "You okay?" Jess asked, a hint of concern in her voice. I took a deep breath. "I'm fine." No. I had never seen things more clearly than I did now. If I weren't good enough to sit at the same table as Sophia, then my money wouldn't be enough to pay for her education anymore. After the call with Jess, I sat silently in my office, staring at my computer screen without seeing anything. The pieces were finally falling into place. The signs had always been there. I was just too stupid to notice. Sophia had never invited me to any important event in her life, not her birthday parties, college graduation, or those networking events at her finance school. Back then, I thought she was just busy, that she wanted to spend time with friends and people in her field. But now I saw the truth. She avoided mentioning me. The last time I met any of Sophia's friends was back in high school. After that, no introductions, no invitations. Once, I accidentally came across one of her Instagram posts, some fancy party with her classmates. I jokingly left a comment. "Big party. Why didn't you invite me?" Less than a minute later, my comment was gone. At the time, I thought she had deleted it by accident. Now I know she did it on purpose. But when she needed money, she had no problem remembering me. Hey, this semester has an essential course, but I'm short $3,000. Can you help? Hey, I need a new laptop for my CFA program. Can you cover it for me? The school just sent a tuition reminder. Can you pay it early for me? When I was helpful, she always thought of me. But outside of that, I was a secret she wanted to bury. I was a fool for not realizing it sooner. But now I saw everything. I didn't argue. I didn't call to question her. I didn't send any angry messages. I opened my laptop, logged into my bank account, and went to the automatic payment section for the next semester. Sophia needed to pay $5,000. Until now, I had always set up automatic payments for her. The system would deduct the money from my account whenever tuition was due and send it directly to her university. But this time I clicked Cancel Payment. A notification popped up. Are you sure you want to cancel the tuition payment for New York University? I didn't hesitate. Confirm. Done. Then I picked up my phone and typed a short message, brief but enough to change everything. Hope you have the Thanksgiving you wanted. But if I'm not good enough to sit at the table with you, my money isn't enough to pay for your tuition either. Figure it out yourself. Then I went to my contacts and blocked Sophia's number. A week after Thanksgiving, my phone rang. It was Mom. I looked at the screen, feeling a twinge of irritation. I knew this wasn't just a casual check-in or a friendly good morning call. I sighed, but answered anyway. The moment I said hello, the voice on the other end wasn't Mom's. It was Sophia, frantic, panicked, even a little desperate. You can't do this to me. Tuition is due. I won't be able to continue if I don't pay. She spoke fast, her voice catching. I need you, just this semester. I promise I'll pay you back. I closed my eyes, trying to keep my frustration in check. Had she ever mentioned paying me back in the past 4 years? It was always just this semester. Semester after semester passed, and not once had she brought up repayment. Are you even listening? I can't miss this opportunity, please. Her voice cracked with desperation, and I could picture the panic on her face. But I felt nothing. I had helped her too much, for too long, and in return, all I got was betrayal. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I hung up. Less than 5 minutes later, the phone rang again. This time it was Mom. I hesitated for a second, but picked up. Marjane, her voice was choked like she'd been crying. You can't do this to Sophia. You're ruining her future. She needs your help. I gripped my phone tightly, feeling a cold anger rise in my chest. Not because Mom was blaming me, but because she wasn't blaming Sophia. I took a deep breath, keeping my voice steady. Then tell me, when she planned to cut me out of Thanksgiving, why didn't anyone stand up for me? Silence. No justifications, no apologies. Just a long, heavy silence weighed down by guilt. 2 days later, I was reviewing a major client's transportation contract when my phone rang again. It was Jess. Hey, I answered, still a little drained from the calls with Mom and Sophia. Have you heard? Jess asked, her voice brimming with excitement, like she was about to drop a bomb. I frowned. Heard what? She lowered her voice, but I could practically hear the grin on her face. Sophia tried asking Lucas for help. I let out a short laugh. Of course she did. I wasn't surprised. Sophia must have thought that if I refused to pay her tuition, her successful businessman boyfriend would step in and take care of it. After all, hadn't she spent months bragging about how valuable this relationship was? But she was wrong. Lucas was shocked when he learned I had been paying for Sophia's entire education for 4 years. He looked her straight in the eye and asked, You never mentioned your sister? The one who put you through college? Sophia panicked, scrambling to explain. She stammered that I had only helped a little and that she intended to pay me back. But Lucas wasn't an idiot. You told me you came from a financially stable family, he said, but you've been living off your sister's money? There was no excuse for Sophia's lies. Jess told me that Lucas walked out of her apartment that same day, leaving her completely shattered. The next day, realizing she had no way out, Sophia came to my company. I was discussing a new transportation contract with an employee when I looked up and saw Sophia storming into my office like a hurricane. Her eyes were red, her face filled with panic. Marjane! She nearly screamed, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. I clenched my jaw and gestured for my employee to leave. As soon as the door shut, Sophia collapsed into the chair across from me, tears streaming down her face. You can't do this to me! You're ruining my life! I crossed my arms, meeting her gaze with a calm but icy tone. No, you did that to yourself. She froze, but then quickly lunged forward, grabbing my hand, her voice desperate. Marjane, please. I know I was wrong, but I need you. The school will drop me if I don't pay my tuition now. Just this one time. I promise I'll pay you back. I pulled my hand away, feeling more exhaustion than anger. Don't you get it, Sophia? I'm done. Figure it out yourself. Her face turned pale, the tears still falling. But this time, not because she was trying to manipulate me. This time, she knew I wouldn't give in. She opened her mouth to say something, but nothing she said could change my mind. I stood up, turned my back to her, and didn't look at her again. For the first time in her life, Sophia realized I was no longer the open wallet she had always counted on. Without me covering her tuition, Sophia couldn't make the payment. She panicked, scrambling for a solution, but every door slammed shut. She tried applying for a bank loan, but no one would co-sign. No stable income, no collateral, and a nearly non-existent credit history meant there was no way she could secure such a large loan in just a few days. She called Mom, her voice full of anxiety, but Mom had no money. She turned to Dad, but he refused to get involved. She contacted relatives, but no one wanted to take on her debt. Desperate, Sophia contacted the university's financial office, hoping to negotiate. "I just need a little more time," she pleaded. "Can I pay in a few months?" But the tuition deadline was final. No exceptions. The school would cancel her enrollment if she didn't pay in full. Her last resort was Lucas, who might still help her. But Lucas wasn't answering her calls. He ignored her texts. When Sophia showed up at his apartment, knocking on his door for nearly 10 minutes, all she got in return was a single cold message. "Don't contact me again." Then Lucas blocked her number. With no one left to turn to, no solutions left to grasp at, Sophia was forced to drop out. Her dream of a glamorous, prestigious future crumbled completely, and for the first time in her life, she had no one to blame but herself. After Sophia was forced to drop out, Mom started calling me nonstop. I ignored the first few calls, but when I saw she had called nearly 10 times in one evening, I finally decided to pick up. When I said hello, her voice came through, choked with emotion, as if she had been crying all day. "Marjane, please reconsider. Sophia knows she was wrong. She needs you." I sat there in silence, feeling more exhausted than angry. It wasn't surprising that she was taking Sophia's side. That was nothing new. But what bothered me most was that she hadn't once asked how I felt after everything that had happened. "Do you even know how it felt?" I asked coldly, "to have my sister be ashamed of me because of my job?" She was quiet for a moment before speaking softly. "She made a mistake, but she realizes it now, Marjane. She needs your help." I let out a bitter laugh. "No, Mom, she doesn't need me. She needs my money." She sniffled, trying to say something, but I didn't give her the chance. "You know," I continued, "if I had been good enough to sit at the table with Sophia and Lucas that night, maybe I'd be good enough to help her now. But I guess I'm not." Then I hung up, not out of anger, but because I was done. I had spent my whole life helping my family, only to realize they never truly cared about me, just what I could provide, and now they would have to learn how to live without my help. My phone buzzed as I sat on the couch with a glass of whiskey that night. A message from Dad. He was never the type to get involved in family drama. Over the years, he stayed silent, letting Mom and Sophia handle things however they wanted. I had grown used to that, so I didn't expect much, but I opened the message anyway. "You did the right thing. Everyone has to learn their lessons. Fishing tomorrow morning?" I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then, without realizing it, I smiled. No lectures, no guilt trips, no telling me to forgive or help Sophia. Just acknowledgement and an invitation. I typed back a single word, "Sure." The following day, Dad and I took the small boat to the middle of the lake. The air was crisp, the water still as glass, reflecting the clear blue sky. The engine hum faded as we drifted further from shore until there was nothing but perfect silence. We cast our lines and sat side by side, saying nothing, but we didn't need to. Dad wasn't a man of many words, but when he spoke, it always mattered. After a long while, he finally broke the silence, his voice slow and steady. "When I was your age, your grandfather once told me something." I glanced over, waiting. Dad smiled slightly, still watching the water. "Sometimes the best way to help someone is to let them face the consequences." I nodded, feeling lighter than I had in a long time. We sat there enjoying the quiet. No pressure, no judgment. Just a father, a daughter, and the stillness of the lake. For the first time in years, I realized that someone in my family understood and supported me. And that was enough. 6 months later, my life had changed entirely. No more calls asking for money. No more feeling used. No more frustration every time I thought about Sophia. I focused solely on my work and on growing my business, and it paid off beyond my expectations. Expanding my client network, I landed a significant contract with a supermarket chain, transporting goods to hundreds of stores nationwide. It was a game changer, accelerating my company's growth beyond anything I had imagined. I purchased 5 new trucks, upgraded my logistics management system, and hired more drivers and dispatchers. My company was no longer just a small regional operation. It was becoming a true force in the trucking industry. Every day I was busy from morning until night, signing contracts, overseeing operations, planning expansions. But the most significant difference? I no longer felt drained or pressured by meaningless obligations. Before, no matter how much money I made, there was always a weight on my shoulders, knowing I was sharing it with people who didn't appreciate me. But now, every achievement belonged to me and the people who truly deserved it, my hardworking team. I stood in my garage every night, looking at the row of brand new trucks with my company's logo, feeling a deep pride. I built all of this with my own hands, without relying on anyone, without asking anyone for help. 6 months ago, I was just an ATM for my family. Now, I was a successful businesswoman, and more importantly, I was free. While I was expanding my business and living a free, comfortable life, Sophia was drowning in despair. One evening, I received a text from Jess. "Do you want to know how Sophia is doing?" I didn't care, but I replied anyway. "Go ahead." Less than a minute later, Jess sent messages describing the nightmare Sophia was living. After being forced to drop out, she desperately tried to find a way forward. She sent out dozens of job applications, hoping to land a position in finance, even without her master's degree. But the real world was far harsher than she had imagined. The big firms she had once dreamed of working for rejected her outright because she didn't have the necessary qualifications. Smaller companies offered her nothing but low-paying positions, not nearly enough to help her return to school. After weeks of desperation, she finally accepted a job at a small financial firm. Not as an investment advisor, not as a financial analyst, just a regular office worker, sitting in a cubicle, entering data, and generating reports day after day. Low pay, mind-numbing work, no prospects. All the grand dreams she once had were now nothing but illusions. She used to look down on me for working a blue-collar job, but now she finally understood what having no standing in society meant. No prestige, no success, just another nameless employee lost in a sea of office workers. Time passed faster than I expected. A year later, with Thanksgiving approaching, Mom called again. This time, her voice wasn't choked with emotion or filled with blame. It was softer, as if she were carefully testing the waters. "Marjane, do you want to come home this year?" I raised an eyebrow, not surprised, but also not particularly interested. "Why do you want me back now?" She sighed on the other end. "Sophia has changed. She's grateful for you. She understands that she was wrong. You can't stay mad at her forever." I let out a dry, motionless laugh. "You want me to forgive her? Pretend nothing happened, as if she never treated me like an embarrassment?" "Marjane, everyone makes mistakes," Mom said quickly. She was young. She wasn't thinking clearly. "But she's learned her lesson, sweetheart. She's had a hard year. Can't you let it go and be a family again?" I shook my head. She still didn't get it. I leaned back in my chair, my voice calm but cold. "Oh? Has she offered to pay back all the money I spent on her?" Silence. No excuses, no promises, because we both knew the answer. Sophia had never even considered repaying that money, because in her eyes, it was something I owed her. I sighed, not out of anger, but because I didn't care anymore. "Mom, I don't need a fake thank you. I don't need gratitude that only appears when someone struggles. I just needed respect. Something Sophia never gave me. And if it never existed in the first place, it doesn't mean anything now." I heard Mom exhale on the other end. She wanted to say something, but stopped herself. Finally, she just wished me a happy Thanksgiving and hung up. I stared at my phone for a moment, then smiled. I didn't need a family that only remembered me when they needed something. I didn't need forgiveness from someone who had never truly valued me. This Thanksgiving, I celebrated it my way, and there would be no place for those who had once turned their backs on me. I don't hate Sophia. I'm not angry anymore, nor do I hold any resentment. I don't care. But through all of this, I've learned an important lesson. You can't help people who don't respect you. I used to believe that as long as I sacrificed enough, as long as I loved my family enough, they would appreciate me. But reality taught me that unconditional sacrifice only turns you into an endless wallet for others to exploit. I walked away, I chose my path, and I have no regrets. But sometimes I wonder, was I right to do this? Was I too harsh? Was I being selfish? What do you think? If you were in my shoes, would you have kept helping Sophia, or would you have done the same as me? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you like this story, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the following video.